Okay. Okay. Oh my god. I don't know what the angling. Every time I set up this angle here, it always looks super different when it actually comes out on video. Like this is more of like a zoomed in version, but here we go. So I'm just going to start with a sermon as I usually do. And this first topic in my sermon is going to be, this is actually something I saw that another creator on here posted, and I don't remember their name, but this person, he talks about a lot of like current events and sometimes like philosophical concepts like movies and pop culture and things like that. So I did get this idea from him, but this is an idea that I have also talked about in terms of manifestation. So spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie Interstellar, number one, what the fuck? So spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie Interstellar, number one, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you are in the manifestation community, you need to watch that ASAP, okay? Number two, yeah, spoiler alert. So the scene, how he is in the Tesseract, okay, and this is another topic that I wanted to address on here. The Tesseract is essentially a 4D cube, okay? And basically, if you are aware of different types of cube, okay? And basically, if you are aware of different types of dimensions, you are aware that because we are in a 3D dimensions, you are aware that because we are in a 3D vessel, we can only see things in 3D from a two-dimensional perspective, right? It's like length and width, whatever the fuck, okay? But someone who is, let's say, in a 4D vessel, they can now see three angles, okay? They would see length, width, and depth. Now, from a metaphysical perspective, if you're looking at see inside that cube, okay? So when Matthew McConaughey is in the Tesseract, what this creator on TikTok was, you know, philosophizing, I don't know if that's a word, but it is the fuck now. He was saying, what if, you know, philosophizing, I don't know if that's a word, but it is the fuck now. He was saying, what if from this perspective, you know, there was a scene where the girl, she doesn't want her dad to leave, right? And then he's going to join this space mission, right? And then he's going to join this space mission, whatever, to find the other planets, and she doesn't want him to leave. And then he's kind of like looking for a sign, like, like, you know, like, should I leave? Should I not leave? And then a book falls off the shelf. And come to find out later in the movie, it was actually Matthew McConaughey inside the Tesseract, inside the 4D cube, and he was the one that pushed the book off of the shelf to try to get him to stay and not go on that space mission, okay? And what this creator on TikTok was I can never fucking say that word. There's always a word that someone is just like, they just like all over the place. So philosophizing is mine, whatever. So from the philosophical perspective, this creator was saying, what if those things really happen in real life? And it's just you in a parallel timeline to maneuver this way or maneuver that way. So this kind of coincides with the burnt toast theory. I think that's what it's called, where basically it's like, don't mind me, I have my jamming headphones and I have a pimp ass jam on, fuck yeah. So basically it's like, if you are trying to leave the house and, you know, the toast gets burnt and you have to like clean up the burnt crisps or some shit. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but you could look into that. So it's like the burnt toast got you to leave the house 5 minutes later, whereas had you left out that there was some big calamity in the area that you would have been at if you had left the house at the time that you had originally intended to leave, the 5 minutes prior, okay? So this creator was saying, what if there are things that occur in our, you know, experience now, the awareness that we are now, that are coming from other versions of us in other timelines. Ooh, thank you. Hello. And they are trying to get us to, you know, move timelines. Ooh, thank you. Hello. and they are trying to get us to, you know, move in certain directions because they can see all, right? Because remember, from the vantage point of God, source, universe, however the fuck you want to call it, all time is now. Time exists for the linear measure of space, but in the ethers, time does not exist. Oh my God, I love this jam. Fuck yeah. So when you are looking at it from that vantage point, right, now you are no longer a 3D, you know, source piloting around a vessel, right, where you can only see 2 dimensions, you can only see length and width. You, from the higher dimensional perspective, can now see inside the cube from a higher dimensional perspective. So if, let's say, your 3D self right now, you know what you want to manifest, right? Because technically another version of you has this thing. So this version of you that has this thing, now this is where we're getting into my take on it, okay? But shout out to that creator, because that was a great inspiring video, made me think of this from a manifestation perspective. So you have a version of you that's already in that timeline who can see, right? Because remember, there's you. It's God, source, consciousness, universe, whatever you want to call it, all-seeing eye, okay? And from that vantage point, there is no illusion of separation. It's just you can see into the 3D, you can see through things, and you could see into all timelines at once. So now this alternate version of you in the timeline that you want is like, whoa, if you go that way, you're not going to get what you want, or it's going to slow you down. And because I'm already here and I'm chilling in the fucking desired reality that you want, I want you to, you know, come join me, come mesh with me in the flesh. And I'm going to knock books off the fucking bookshelf to get you to move in this direction or that direction. Now, of course, in the movie Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey, he does end up going because he doesn't realize, you know, the significance of the book flying off the shelf. But, you know, we do, well, I fucking have flying off the shelf. But, you know, we do, well, I fucking have a belief that a lot of sci-fi movies are indicative of how reality is really, you know, created, right? So when you start looking at things in the 3D as you accidentally made a wrong turn, right? You were a route where you go out of your way because you made the wrong turn. You actually take a step in the direction of your manifestation. Whereas if you had proceeded down the path that you were originally going to take, that seems logical to your 3D self who can only see in 2 dimensions, right? But your unlimited God scope can see in all directions. It's like, whoa, like we know what this motherfucker wants, right? So we're just gonna direct them. So hindrances or roadblocks or things that might seem out of place, and they don't necessarily have to be bad things, right? Because a book flying off the shelf ain't necessarily bad, but it's just you want to be aware of this so you don't pull a Matthew McConaughey and then do something that you might necessarily have wanted to do, even though in the end for him it worked out in the movie, okay? So part of manifesting is being aware that you might have weird shit happen, okay? And it's about how fucking open you are to the weirdness, to the coincidences that is going to get you to the place you desire to be at an accelerated rate, okay? Now, the thing is, when I get this information, okay, my mouth can't keep up with, because I just get boom, boom. It's like a download. So that's why you see me stumbling over my words, okay? Because my mouth, it's physical, right? It can't keep up with thought because thought is instantaneous, yeah? So when you are having these weird snafus or these weird things, you're like, what is that? Like something goes missing, or you find yourself spending 30 minutes looking for something that you thought you misplaced, only to find out it was in your pocket the whole time. But then along that 30 minutes, you found something else that you might have been looking for, which might be a stepping stone along to getting you to your manifestation. And this, you know, just based off of what I originally said, in my opinion, is very likely to be that version of you that's already in that reality that, you know, because consciousness is all at once, right? But, you know, because it would be way too confusing in the 3D for you to be accessing all timelines at once in a physical vessel, your God self has branched off into other versions of you in different timelines, because it is all awareness all the time. So it's like, okay, there's an awareness that this motherfucker's dream life is over here. That version of them already exists, but oh, I see them over here doing some fiddly fuck. So let me try to help this motherfucker out and get them to where they want to be. Okay, so what I would suggest, and this is why I resonate a lot with Neville Goddard's content, because, you know, Neville Goddard, he's known as like, you know, granddaddy of LOA, whatever. No one is better or worse than anyone, but I resonate with a lot of his content because he's known as also a mystic, okay? And in my opinion, okay, with manifestation, there is an element of mysticism with it, such as book flying off the shelf. And when you start to see these little nuances that are occurring in your 3D, you're like, what does that mean? You can really start to see the bridge of incidents unfolding in real time. Okay, so nothing is a setback, nothing is a delay, even if it looks like that is first. Remember, it's still your perception from the 2D, length and width. But there's another version of you that is helping you along, because if you think about it, okay, let's say you first learning how to swim, okay? You first learning how to swim. So then you have this swimming instructor. This motherfucker is like, okay, you know, they're helping you along. They're holding you in the water. They're like, just move your legs, move your arms like this. They're showing you what to do, okay? Now, they tell you, okay, I'm going to go to this end of the pool, the opposite end of the pool. I want you to swim to me, okay? Just do it, right? That's kind of how I'm seeing the other versions of you, which there's one you, because you are everyone and everything, but the timeline that you are most focused on at the moment is like the swim instructor. It's like, okay, come to me, just keep coming to me, right? And they're guiding you along the path, like, come here, okay? Because remember, all of creation is finished. That's why with manifestation, they say that you cannot do anything to manifest. You are manifesting within you the version that is in congruence with that fucking timeline, okay? So the timeline is stagnant. So it's you in this 3D vessel, right, that you're piloting around, and you're swimming towards it. You're swimming towards it, okay? Because remember, everything is comprised of waves, not just ocean waves or, you know, waves in a pool, but everything is fucking waves, okay? Everything behaves like a wave. It you know, matter only forms into what you expect it to see, because it behaves like a wave until it is focused on, and then it says, what do you expect of me? And then you as God consciousness say, this is what I expect, and then it solidifies into matter, okay? So that's how it works. So this is you in your desired timeline, okay? Now you're over here fiddly fucking around, and this version of you is like, but I see through the fucking 3D. What are you doing? You're not going to use logic, motherfucker. So what it's going to do, it's going to reach out and it's going to do something, okay? Because remember, everything exists at once. So is it really such a shock to say that another version of you is not calling you into the timeline that you want? Because it's all you, right? But you, from your limited vantage point, especially if you're fucking triggered by the 3D, especially if you're looking at timing, especially if you're only centered on what the fuck is around you, that's your fucking five senses can discern, then you're not going to be paying attention. So this motherfucker's like, yo, let's go, come over here. But if you're not listening, if you're just in the water and you're like, what? You're like floundering, come over here. But if you're not listening, if you're just in the water and you're like, what? You're like floundering, what is it gonna do? That motherfucker might send a fucking shark in the fucking water, and then you see a shark in the water. Motherfucker, if you don't know how to swim, you gonna learn today? You gonna learn right now, like, oh shit, I'm gonna get away from this motherfucker, and you gonna scoot over to that opposite end of the pool. You know what I'm saying? It might not always be a shark, but it might be something, okay? That's why I said, you know, it's weird shit that gets your attention. That's like, well, I better move, okay? And this is why with manifesting, I recommend utilizing intuition. Now, in my opinion, everyone, you know, has an intuition, okay? Because manifestation, you know, it requires a level of trust in the unseen, as does your intuition. And I know every one of you in the chat has had a fucking experience where you're like, you just knew some shit was gonna happen, or you just felt like you needed to go somewhere, you felt like you need to leave a place, then it turns out that shit hit the fan right after you left, or the place that you decide not to go to, there was some chaotic shit that went on, and you just knew it. There was no explanation, but you were just like, yeah, this sense is in my vessel that I ought to not venture there. And then you found out later. So everyone has had those experiences, but a lot of motherfuckers will just chalk it up to a fucking coincidence, okay? So when you're manifesting, you get these weird things that seem to occur in the 3D, like the book flying off the shelf. Think of it, because remember, it's still your belief. Think of it like, oh, that was my higher self, or, myself in, that alternate timeline, which I desire, and they are steering me here. That's why you can have weird shit happen, okay? This is why, one of my, like, weirdest manifestation stories, okay, which I have a video on here, like, long time ago I posted this, okay? But when I first started posting on TikTok, and I was getting into like the manifestation, right? I was listening to a lot of Neville, and I was reading his books, and I was like, okay, the fucking famous Barbados story, right? I'm sure a lot of you know that story. So I wasn't thinking nothing about it. I wasn't thinking shit. I was just posting on TikTok. For no reason. I was like, I have an interest in shit. I was just posting on TikTok. For no reason. I was like, I have an interest in this shit. Let me just talk about it. Okay. So out of nowhere, there's this box that is presented to me, and it's like my old, like, childhood shit. Okay. And it's a little fucking box, like a music box. Fucking weird, right? Fucking wild. I'm like, oh, I remember this music box, or I remember it, okay? And then there's all stuff of mine from my childhood in this fucking box. Like, not everything, obviously, but like little trinkets, like little mementos here and there. And then I'm like looking through the shit, and I'm seeing like rings, jewelry, whatever, just shit, okay? Pins. And then I fucking look at this thing, and it's a keychain. I mean, I ain't gonna, maneuver myself away from the live stream right now, but I've showed it on here before. And it's a keychain, and it says Barbados. And I'm like, because there was no one's shit in that box aside from my stuff, okay? There was no one's stuff in that box aside from my shit. I have never been to Barbados. I don't even think I've met anyone who's been to Barbados that it would be in like my childhood box. So I'm still second guessing. I'm like, let me ask a few people, like, even though like from my childhood, like I don't, like, no one I remember telling me they went to Barbados. So I was like, let me just ask, have you been to Barbados? No. Have you been to Barbados? No. Have you been to Barbados? No. So anyone that it could have possibly been had not been to Barbados. But there was a Barbados fucking keychain of all the fucking countries, okay, in a box with my shit. Who put it there? I don't know, because there was no one else's shit in that box but mine. And I remember that it was my fucking little music jewelry box, whatever it was, from childhood. How did that happen? Right when I started getting into the Neville content. Okay, so that to me was weird, and I was like, oh, well, whatever the fuck I'm doing, I'm gonna just keep on doing it now, right? And it was weird because 2 weeks prior to me finding that keychain, I was just, I was in one of my channel sessions with myself, because that's how I fucking roll, and I was given the message, I am the key. Okay, and I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I was like, okay, I'm the key. Yeah, maybe from a spiritual perspective, you could look at it as like a common saying, but I didn't think about it again. I was just like, I'm the key. 2 weeks later, I am the key. I receive a fucking keychain that to this day, I don't know how that fucking got in my stuff. So I was like, whoa. So shit like that, which I'm sure a lot of you have experienced, you like, my dude, it's like breadcrumbs pointing you in the direction you want to go. Weird shit will be happening. And how is that explainable to the 3D? I mean, I'm sure a motherfucker type 8 personality would come up in here. Well, probably someone that you no longer talk to went to Barbados and they gave you the keychain. No, I mean, listen, I know for a fact, okay? I know for a fact that no one that could have been from that timeline of my childhood went to Barbados, because everyone I asked, they didn't. And who's gonna buy, like, okay, you're a little kid, you're fucking 8 years old, someone's gonna come back and just give you a keychain at, like, that it don't even make sense, you know what I mean? So shit like that, Okay? Weird shit that is unexplainable. Pay fucking attention to it. Whew! I need a drink. There's some water right here. I don't even know what's up, everyone. How is all of you doing up in here? And then I have one more topic that I want to address in my sermon, but that was the first one. Be aware of weird shit, be open to mysticism, and utilize your intuition. And again, I always say this, but I'm gonna try to keep this one a little shorter. I really don't even know how long I've been talking because time doesn't exist, which is my next fucking topic, which I'm sure you're super excited to hear about. But anyway, so let me just take a little break here. Fuck yeah. Oh shit, you found pearls after, wow, pearl of great price. Hell yeah. And that pearl of great price, that is some great information because it's literally just saying for you to just go all in with what you want and don't focus on anything else. So that's a great sign. I fucking love that. Oh hell yeah, I've noticed a lot of glitches too. Like when you become more aware of shit like that and you're more open to it and not just, you know, lump everything together as a coincidence, you're gonna start to see how to hack this reality. So my next topic, my next sermon, this one might not be as lengthy, and then I'll get to the comments, but okay, so a lot of motherfuckers, this is what I probably get asked the most, is how long is it going to take? And what a lot of you, I'm sure, understand, but you're not really embracing, is that it doesn't take time. Because like I said in the sermon number 4, not really embracing is that it doesn't take time. Because like I said in the sermon number fucking 1, that there is in the 3-2 measure space, okay? And please watch the movie Lucy if you are interested in more in that concept. Because like I said, sci-fi movies, I personally don't believe that they are science fiction. I believe that they are a science fact, but they're just labeled as fiction. So, you know, to keep you kind of wondering. But anyway, time doesn't exist. You think of the thing, okay? That's it. You don't contradict it. So now it's a pure channel. Okay, there's no interference. It's just pure because you're in alignment with it. Whether you think about it again or not, as long as you don't think against it, you are in alignment with that thing. And that thing, because creation is instant and everything is now, right? As long as you don't contradict it, or as long as you don't think, when is that going to happen? You are a pure channel to that thing. You're not thinking about time. You're just like, yeah, that'd be nice. You go about your business. 3 days later, boom, it shows up. Because you have not placed a wall of contradiction up. And that is the main point of successfully manifesting shit that you want. You cannot be thinking against it. And fuck how you feel. Okay, just like the other video that I fucking said that I posted recently. Okay, if you go to the club and you have you a twizzy ass time and you hungover, the next day you feel like shit. Okay, are you thinking, am I not who I am? No. You understand that it's processing. You understand that it's processing through your fucking system, but you're not asking, is my name really so and so? Do I really live at this address? Is this really my job? Do I really go to school there? You ain't asking shit. You just understand that the fucking thing processing through your fucking vessel is the same thing with your emotions. So let's say you have alignment with the thing that you want, okay, and like the next day you're not in a good mood, you're off, whatever, you feel lethargic, you feel lazy, I don't know, whatever. Does that mean that the thing is no longer existence? Does that mean you are not in alignment with it? No, it just means that it's an emotion passing through. Okay, but if you start thinking, oh my God, does this emotion mean I'm not going to get what I want? Now you put yourself out of alignment. So when anyone asks me, how How long is it going to take? I never give an answer, and I never will, because it doesn't depend on time. So when someone is asking me about time, they're really asking a question that cannot be answered, because there's no time. It's already done. So how in alignment are you with the thing? And like I said, you don't need to be constantly thinking about it. Yes, it's great if you're doing affirmations to, get a belief system gone once and for all. It's great if you're doing visualizations, but these things are just tools to help you stay in that same alignment. Okay, it's to stop you from thinking against it, but it's not fucking doing shit. That's there to placate the ego. The ego, where is it? Oh, let's affirm. I am time. There is no time. I am the universe. All is one. Okay, right? Now your ego is focused on the affirmation. It's not focused on the time. Good job. Okay? The techniques are not doing shit. If you enjoy the techniques, if you enjoy it, yes, they are very beneficial. You're putting too much emphasis on the technique, and you're not putting enough emphasis on who you are being in the moment, which is ideally the motherfucker who is in alignment with the things. It does not take time. Everything is now, it takes alignment. That's why when someone says, oh, how fast or slow does the manifestation take? It's different for everyone, because everyone is at different alignments. Everyone has different, perhaps detrimental belief systems that are contradicting the thing that they're manifesting, so they keep going back to the old story. But this is why you can declare something one time and then it happens, because you didn't think against it. Therefore, you maintained that clear channel with the thing. You're in alignment with it, whether you're at the beach, at the gym, at school, whether you're fucking doing shots at the fucking bar. Okay? If you you start looking at the time, you start checking 3D, now you're not in fucking alignment with it. So that's why when anyone, like, when someone tries to give you these bullshit things, oh yeah, the SP manifested overnight, receive a text message in 30 seconds, listen, it might work for some motherfuckers, okay? But most of the time, which sounds fucking crazy because I'm saying time don't exist, more often than not, okay, but most of the time, which sounds fucking crazy because I'm saying time don't exist, more often than not, that shit ain't gonna work, because everyone is in different stages of their alignment. So if you just assume I snap my fingers and SP is at my door with a fucking engagement ring, and you don't think against it, yeah, that's gonna happen. And it might happen within a minute. But if you're looking for something to fix, or something to do better, or something to try harder at, that is your ego. Seek shit. How are you gonna seek some shit that you already fucking are? If you are everything, if you are everyone, how can you be looking for it? Like, I mean, let's bring logic into the chat for a wee bit, okay? If you are everything and you are everyone and everything is now, how can you be looking for fucking anything? That don't even make logical sense. You could tell that to your ego as a clapback if you so desire, because you'd be like, motherfucker, what am I looking for? What are you trying to do here? I am everything, so what you got to say? So that's why I will never, ever, ever tell you a specific timing. The time doesn't matter. Your alignment fucking matters. And this is what I suggest to everyone, even individuals that I work with personally. You can do all the techniques. Great. If they are helping you and you feel good about them, yes, they work. But the most important thing is who you are being in every fucking moment. So if you make a desire known and you just say, yeah, this would be nice, and the rest of the day you're thinking like shit, you now have a job to do. You have to be mindful of your thoughts. I'm thinking against it. I'm looking at timing. I'm checking the 3D. I can't do that. I have to be in alignment. Your only job is to be in fucking alignment with it. And that doesn't, in fucking alignment with it. And that doesn't, the techniques, yes, they do help to put you in that space, but that doesn't, it's not going to do anything if you're going to set a timer to affirm for 30 minutes. The rest of the day, you're thinking against your desire. Who wins? 30 minutes versus 10 hours of the day. You're thinking against it. Chomp. Okay? Seriously. So it's what you are thinking moment by moment. Moment by moment. Are you in alignment? Yes or no? That's it. That's the simplest motherfucking shit right there that you gotta ask yourself. Is this something that I want to see present itself to me in the 3D? Yes or no? So you have a thought, SP's in love with me, SP's obsessed with me. Do I want to see this in the 3D? Fuck yeah. You know what? I'm going to keep thinking this. Or I turn my attention somewhere else and I know it's done. But if you have a thought that your SP don't want to talk to you for whatever fucking reason, do you want to see that in the 3D? If yes, okay, continue thinking that way. If no, then you got to change your fucking thoughts. So in every moment when your mind wanders, you gotta watch yourself. And you don't have to do this constantly because motherfuckers are like, oh, but manifestation is constantly going on. You have to be hyper vigilant of your fucking thoughts. No, you don't. Once you get that shit belief system out there, that app that is not serving you, once you get that out, you're not gonna have to think constantly about your desire. So don't think that you're going to have to affirm every day for the rest of your life. Once you shift that belief system, what is going to happen is that your thoughts are now going to naturally be in alignment with that new belief system. So all of the areas in your life that are going well right now, you're not constantly affirming for them. There's just a general expectation that things are going well in that area, but you're not constantly affirming. You're not setting a timer to affirm for that. Because that belief system is something that you're confident in and it's working for you. So that's what it is. So that's what I got with that little sermon. I still don't even know how long I've been talking. But hey, time don't exist. If it works, it works. You were going back and forth with your ego. Hey, if that's what works for you, some individuals, they just tell the ego, shut the fuck up. They're like, my dude, no. like what are you doing? You trying to sell me? Some individuals, they just tell the ego, shut the fuck up. They're like, my dude, no. like what are you doing? You trying to sell me some bullshit here? So if that's in looking at something in that way for entertainment purposes versus, oh my God, I gotta search for the next technique. I gotta search for the next person talking about this shit. So it's really what the intention is behind it. So you don't need to scroll past fucking anything if you're enjoying the content. So you don't need to scroll past fucking anything if you're enjoying the content genuinely. Just what's your awareness behind you looking at that content? Someone said, why are you women so obsessed with manifesting? Well, whoever you are, Capture, that's your assumption. So if you have that assumption that women are obsessed with manifesting, that's what you're going to see play out in your 3D. Whether that's something you like or whether it's something you don't like. That's your assumption. Boom, there it is. In your face. So you missed what I said. I don't even remember what the fuck I said, to be honest. Refresh my memory. I don't even fucking remember. Let's see. I don't know if that captures a troll or whatever. I mean, I really don't care, but I mean, that is an assumption, whoever that is. What if sometimes your brain, SP being with, what if sometimes your brain, SP being with another, okay, well that you have a story either about that SP being with another female, or you have a relationship app that is detrimental to you. So which one is it? Is there a story about that particular individual, or is it a story about relationships? And how you can tell it's a story about relationships is, have you experienced that before, not just with that SP, but with other individuals prior to that? Yes, this will be uploaded to YouTube. Okay, guys, you don't have to believe your affirmations. If you're saying it was hard but you kept believing and you wavered, you don't have to believe the affirmations. All you need to do is just keep repeating them, and you're going to see that those are going to become your dominant thoughts, and what your dominant thoughts become are your dominant assumptions, which then creates your dominant experience in that area, okay? Well, if you never got cheated on, then I mean, what, like, I'm not in your mind, okay? So if it's only isolated to this person, you know. Ooh, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that. Woohoo. Can I talk more about 5D chess? 5D chess, in my perspective, is that you, I don't know how many of you are familiar with chess. I personally love me a game of chess. I love chess. Like, oh my God, I fucking love it. But if you're familiar with the game of chess, you don't move until you've thought about it. And you're kind of moving with the anticipation of what's going to happen based off of that move. And from the 3D vantage point, okay, like I said in the beginning, you're only seeing length and width. You're not seeing the whole chessboard, right? You're just seeing like the players in front of you, right? All the other pieces. But the higher version of you is seeing the entire chessboard, and it is calculating, okay, because once you set the desire in motion, your higher self is like, okay, like we're getting this done. So it can see the entire chessboard. So if you're guided to move somewhere, right? Remember, your higher self can see the other opponents on the board. They can see what the next move is, but you might necessarily not be able to. So it will move you through an inspired action, or in some cases, which not a lot of individuals talk about in manifesting, but sometimes non-action is also an action. Because in chess, you might be sitting there for like 20 minutes and just looking and observing, and it seems like nothing is going on, okay? And this is important with manifesting, right? If you don't feel like doing anything and you're just like, nothing feels right, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing that, like you're just kind of at a standstill, that is still movement from your higher self. But not a lot of motherfuckers talk about that. Sometimes stillness and sometimes just being at rest is movement, because your higher self, being at rest is movement, because your higher self is guiding you, like, listen, you don't need to make a move right now because I'm still figuring out what's going on the board, because I could see this shit and you can't, and I'm guiding you, okay? And if you watch a chess game, motherfuckers be sitting there and you're like, well, what's happening? Like, let's get this show on the road, right? So your ego might be impatient, but I want to do something. I want to do this, right? It's trying to force the 3D. Give in to the ego when you just like, fuck it, I'm going to send that paragraph. And then shit hits the fan. Your higher self is like, well, I'm not sure that was the proper time for you to send the paragraph or to even send it at all. That's why I guided you to stay still. But your ego took over and said, no, I want an answer now. I'ma send that paragraph. And you sent it and you got fucking, no, I want an answer now. I'ma send that paragraph. And you sent it and you got fucking blocked. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes non-movement and just sitting, that is still an inspired action. And how you play 5D chess is you don't move, you don't send an email, you don't send a text, you don't make a phone call, you don't do something unless you're guided to. And how you know you're guided to, how you know it's an inspired action, it's just going to feel right. And this is different from emotions. It's different from emotions because the ego, right? You felt an emotion when you're like, I'm going to send me this paragraph. Fuck yeah. And then what happened, right? That was an emotion. That was a strong fucking emotion. Like, this motherfucker going to learn today. Okay. But your higher self is just like, okay. Because your higher self ain't ever fucking ruffled. Do you know what I mean? And this reminds me of another point that I wanted to make, which I will get to in a minute. So 5D chess is knowing that you're, again, alignment, okay? If you're in alignment with the thing, but you're still not guided to make a move or to do anything in the 3D, sometimes your higher self is still looking at the best way. And then just like you're playing chess, what happens, right? The pieces on the board aren't moving themselves around. you have to pick up the piece and move it. And how your higher self picks up your fucking 3D vessel and moves it is through an inspired action, which is going to feel right. It's going to sense as natural. Like, I feel like run into your SP, okay? Do you see how that works? You're not thinking about it. You're just moved, and you're not going to feel a strong emotional pull towards anything. It's just going to feel like the right thing to do. It's just going to feel natural. It's going to process as a natural sensation in your vessel. So if you're guided to do something, whether it sounds crazy, like move across the world, but it feels natural to do so, okay, then that's your higher self putting you there. If you're guided to just stay still and just call out from work and just stay in your bed all day, but that feels like the right thing to do, your higher self is still doing that, okay? So you have to sense how your vessel is processing it, because a heightened emotion is coming from the ego, is not coming from your God self, higher self, who's maneuvering the pieces around. It's coming from your ego, because your ego wants now. Let's react now. Let's get this now. Let's get this shit done. Impatience comes from the ego. It's not coming from your higher self, because your higher self can't be impatient. So it's like, listen, I ain't moving no pieces on the chessboard until I know that the move is going to be the right one. And sometimes in the 3D, it might seem like nothing is moving, but once you make the fucking shit known, shit is moving. I promise you, nothing rests, okay? Everything moves, everything vibrates. Now, the next point that I want to make, which I was moves, everything vibrates. Now, the next point that I want to make, which I was guided to, because I had that as a mental note, but then I forgot when I went on here, but now I was just reminded again. Let's talk about the tornado. Now, I talk a lot in metaphors, if all you know, okay? So we're going to talk about the bicycle man and the tornado. Talk a lot in metaphors, if all you know, okay? So we're going to talk about the bicycle man and the tornado. So this is something that I fucking thought was funny as fuck, okay? So I don't know why, but like I've been getting a lot of like tornado videos on my FYP, and I don't know, I think they're so entertaining. I've never seen a tornado. Like, I've never lived in an area that would have tornadoes, okay? I mean, if they are in any area that I've lived in, it's super, super rare, and they're very, they're minimal. But I was seeing like tornadoes, like some big ass motherfucker, and I believe this video was in Arkansas, okay? And it was this big ass fucking tornado. It's this huge tornado, and it was like there was thunder, there was lightning. I love me a thunderstorm, fuck yeah. And there was thunder and lightning, and the tornado was just like passing through, like, what's up, how you doing? This big ass motherfucker, this diesel ass fucking tornado, and it was like blowing out fucking electrical lines. You would see that shit get devoured. You would see like fucking explosions and shit. And there was this motherfucker. He was on a fucking bike, and someone's like, I don't know if it was their fucking, like, the camera on their doorstep or whatever, but in the fucking frame, you see this dude just like that passing through on a bike, just nonchalant, not even looking in the direction of the fucking tornado, okay? And I found that so entertaining, like that level of unbothered, okay? Because I speak in metaphors, okay? So you got a big ass monster tornado. It's in the 3D, and it's like literally like next to you, and you just like, oh, okay, and you just keep it moving on your, and you ain't give a shit what's going on in the 3D. So I was like, this is the perfect example for me to give in terms of manifesting, because your 3D can literally look like a fucking dumpster fire tornado, but you're like, okay, I know where I'm going, and it ain't fucking here, so I'm gonna just keep going on my merry way. And that's how you really want to look at the 3D. If you're looking at it like, oh, that's happening, okay, but I know where I'm going, okay? So whatever is going on in your 3D, you just have to pass by, because you're always moving. Even if you're not physically moving, you're constantly moving in awareness of states of being. So when you are looking at the 3D and you're like, oh my god, there's this big ass tornado over here, you could look at it like, oh shit, some shit is happening. Or you could just be like, well, it's not bothering me, I'm gonna just keep it moving. Okay, so the less bothered you are by the 3D, the less that 3D is going to bother you. And I know it sounds fucking crazy. I forget who says this. I don't know. I know it sounds fucking crazy. I forget who says this. I don't know. I think it might be Florence Scovel Shin, and she says something to the effect of I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm sure you can look it up. She says something to the effect of, you know, I am unmoved by circumstances, therefore circumstances move, right? So when you are just seeing whatever the fuck is going on in the 3D, but you're like, whatever, and you just, whatever the fuck is going on in the 3D, but you're like, whatever, and you just keep it moving, and I mean keep it moving in your mind. This is my focus, this is what's going on in my mind, and you know, my imagination is the only reality. The quicker you are going to get there. Okay, another analogy I like to use is, you know where the fuck you're going, right? You already have the destination. You're just like, yep, I'm gonna get in the car and I'm gonna go. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of shit going on the side of the road. Motherfuckers are slowing down to stop and look. You ever see that? You're on the fucking highway and like the traffic is slowed down. The lane is not even fucking closed. The lane is closed on the opposite end, but motherfuckers are fucking nosy and they want to like see what's going on. And there might not even be anything going on. Okay? But they're slowing down. They're like, ooh. So what does that suggest? That suggests that they are easily distracted by shit that has nothing to do with them. So that's how you want to look at the 3D. I know where I'm going. I don't care what's going on this side of the road. I don't care what's going on that side of the road. I know where I'm going. And anything in the 3D, that has nothing to do with me. That shit has already been made manifest. It's done. There's nothing to see here. Okay? Case closed. 3D, it's made manifest. I'm just going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it moving. And this is circling back around to what I said about alignment. Okay? So you're driving, you know your destination, and there's some shit going on the side of the road. Are you going to like slow down, try to like creep a peek? Or are you just like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I know where I'm going and I'm getting there. Okay? You stay in your lane. You mind your fucking business. That is the... I keep saying everything is the fucking best way to look at manifestation, but there's so many amazing fucking ways to look at it, and it all comes down to fucking alignment. If you know where you're going and you do not detour from that, and I mean in your fucking mind, you gonna get there sooner rather than fucking later. Yo, I mean, seriously, why should you care about bullshit going on around you? It ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but it ain't my concern. You know what I mean? That's the perfect way to fucking look at it. I mean, I'm telling you, there's so many ways to look at manifesting and just put it with a metaphor. I'm sure you can think of like so many, even off the top of your head. But it all comes down to alignment. Every fucking thing. You tell people to ignore the news. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the news, like, I mean, unless you're looking at it just to like pass the time or for like an entertainment type of thing, like, oh, this is what they're talking about now. Okay. But like when someone is like heavily like into a news story, like, man, I'm like, does it have anything to do with you? Is it affecting your personal reality? Because like you're really invested personal reality because like you're really invested in some shit that you can't even say 100% is true. You don't know. So that's why, like, anything, it's like, is it serving you to think about it? I mean, entertainment is entertainment. That's how I look at the news. That's how I look at anything in pop culture. Okay. If it's movies like sci-fi, I'll look at that as a learning tool, because I'm like, oh, there's some shit in there that resonates with me. Right. But I'm using it to my benefit. I'm not using it to get all fucking riled up for no fucking reason. I'm an excellent teacher. Thank you. How did you realize you could channel? I always knew that I had like a psychic ability. Again, yes, I actually took like a psychic training class. It was like a one-on-one class like years ago. And this, it was just kind of like, teaching me how to really understand what a psychic thing is compared to like an ego thought. And I studied it a lot as well, just to like hone in different things. How do you control emotions? You have to understand that emotions are coming from your ego, okay? Because your God self, all that is neutral. Remember, because your God self is good, is bad, is right, is wrong, is everything. So there's no emotion. It just cancels out. Any heightened emotion, even if it's excitement, and here's the thing, a lot of motherfuckers in the manifestation community will tell you, like, get excited about it, feel it real. But I mean, yeah, if that works for you, and okay, if you believe you have to be excited about something, yeah, that might work because you believe in it. But manifestation does not require an emotion, okay? So any heightened emotion that you're feeling, whether it's excitement, nervousness, anxiety, fear, anger, whatever, you understand that this is not my God self. This is part of the operating system to make me believe that this is real. It's just part of the software that comes with piloting around a humanoid vessel, okay? A heightened emotion is not a humanoid vessel, okay? A heightened emotion is not real. It's your ego trying to get you to do something, okay? This is why a lot of times, even if someone is really excited about something, okay, and they take an action based off of that excitement, it still might not pan out the way that they want. Why? Because excitement is not real. Anger is not real. I mean, yes, listen, I get it, okay? Emotions can seem very real because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to say all this shit is... Emotions can seem very real because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to say all this shit is for real, bro. Like, but it's not real, okay? Neutrality is real. So how to control your emotions? Number one, you have to understand they're not real. Number two, you have to be mindful in the moment of where your thoughts are. And if you are personalizing an emotion, that's just going to give more of an illusion that the fucking emotion is real. Okay, any emotion. I don't care if it's a good emotion, a bad emotion. There is no good, there is no bad, right? But it's how you're labeling it. So you understand this is just passing through me. I know who I am. I am everyone. I am everything. And at my core, I am calm. And you repeat that, especially if you're triggered. And I don't know what type of nervous system regulation techniques, different strokes for different folks. Some motherfuckers swear by the EFT tapping. Like, I don't know. Okay, for me, listen, if it works for you, I'm not knocking it, but it never resonated with me, okay? But the thing that likely will work for everyone is just, if there's a heightened emotion, there's a trigger, you don't react to anything in a heightened emotional state, okay? This is why also a lot of the fuckers, like, they make promises when they're in a good mood or they're excited, but that's not really who they are, right? Because who they really are is calm and neutral God mentality, which is no emotion. And then they don't deliver those promises because they got excited. So even if it's a good emotion, you have to realize that shit ain't real either. You say, I understand what this is. Who am I though? I am aware that this emotion is processing through. What does this say about a belief that I have? Let me calm myself. Let me ground myself. Let me... Deep breaths. Deep breaths can work for anyone, because everyone is fucking breathing. And if you are breathing shallowly, okay, that means that you are not at peace, means you're not in alignment, okay? So calm your breath. Number one, calm your breath. That's okay. This is an emotion. It's not real. It's processing through. Okay. Let me deep breathe. If you want to do EFT tapping, if you want to do like a yoga pose, whatever the fuck works for you, okay? I don't know. Only you would know that. But you keep your mind focused saying this emotion. Only you would know that. But you keep your mind focused saying this emotion is passing through. It's passing through. It's coming from a belief system. It's coming from a belief system. I am safe. I am safe in my mind. I am safe in my body. All is well. And you keep saying that. You don't let the emotion run away with your thoughts. You don't let the emotion hijack your thoughts. You keep your thoughts. Even if the only thing you can say in the moment is, I am calm. I am safe. That's it. And you do that until you calm down. And the more you do that, the less you're going to have emotional responses. Okay? Or reaction. Okay? Or reactions. La 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 la. Okay, I'm catching up with the comments here. Said something to SP, could you change your thoughts back to what you want because you said something to SP and you created something you didn't want? Well, you're changing your thoughts in every moment. So you tell me, can you change your thoughts back to what you want? Because you can. It's just a matter of, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to say, that shit never fucking happened. This is the story that I want. Are you able to stick with it? It's not can you change your thoughts. It's can you stick with it, and can you not look at what has already been created? Because technically what has already been created is fucking dead and done. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, the thing with me, I'm not a super huge fan of revision, and if it works for you, it works for you, but quite frankly, I don't have time for all that shit. Let me go back into a moment that is already gone anyway and revise it. I mean, yes, you can, like, you know, because you can change the past from the now moment, because all moments are now and you're only accessing the past from the now moment. So if that what resonates with you, like, oh yeah, this is really what happened, that's fine, but you really don't need to do all that. You can just say, you know what, whatever happened, it's done now. It worked out perfectly and to my benefit, and just move along. And if the thing comes to your mind again, yeah, it's already done. It worked out perfectly to my benefit. You don't need to go in and revise a scene and script out a fucking, like, you know, it's really a matter of just you being in alignment now with what you want. And if there's something in the past that you didn't like, it will no longer exist in the minds of anyone else who experienced that or witnessed that or heard about that, because you are saying that that never happened and everything worked out perfectly to your benefit. And because you're the only thinker, you're the only creator in your experience, you are now sending messages via thought transmission to anyone else that experienced that or witnessed it. And if it's erased from your consciousness, which means nothing ever really is erased, it's just you're tuning your focus elsewhere, you're like, that never happened, it worked out perfectly fine. You don't pick up the defunct timeline again. You just keep looking at where you want to look. No one else will remember that. No one else will. They'll be like, what? Like, I never said that. You see it play out in real time. So if you want to do revision, go ahead. You know, if that's what you like doing, but you just really need to say that never happened. It worked out perfectly to my benefit. That's all. Can you just revise by saying affirming something has always been a certain way? Yeah, that's a perfect way to go about it. So if you've always had a belief that you're bad with money, you would just say, I've always been excellent with money. Money loves me. The past, and say, oh, remember when this happened? No, you have to just stick with one story. And that's for anything. What story is your most ideal right now for any situation? You stick with that. You stay in alignment with it. And it's actually quite simple, but you know, you are the one that has to be disciplined with yourself and not go back into the old story. Like, if you are going to, you know, a lot of motherfuckers do this. They will have imaginal arguments or imaginal conversations, or I wish I would have said this in the moment, or I wish I would have said that. Come on. You know what I mean? If you can do that for something negative, you could do that for something positive. So if you want something to go a certain way with a person, then you would just have an imaginal conversation with that motherfucker in your mind. Have an imaginal conversation with that motherfucker in your mind the way that you would want it to go, rather than the way you don't want it to go. And because you pushed out, they are now receiving that positive story rather than the negative story, which is going to influence how they show up for you. You don't how do you keep your mind positive? You don't have to keep your mind positive. You keep your mind, number one, your mind positive. You don't have to keep your mind positive. You keep your mind, number one, neutral in the moment, okay? It's neutrality. If the thing comes up in your mind, you say it's working to my benefit. What's positive to you might not be positive to someone else. So you have to figure out what you want, and you have to just focus on that. And if something contradictory comes up, you say, that's not true. This is true. What I want to be true is true. That's all. It's just about switching that out. What is everyone's favorite manifestation technique? I just kind of want to, like, I don't know, see, because why not? Are most of you guys visual? You scripters? Are you affirmation? Detachment, visualizing, hypnosis, robotic affirmation, planting the seed, affirming, journaling. Hypnosis, robotic affirmation, planting the seed, affirming, journaling, affirmations. Yeah, affirmations and visualization, visualizing and affirming, robotic affirming and visualization. You remember the future. That's a great one. Yep, affirm, visualize, 50-50. Scripting. Ooh, yeah. Recorded affirmations on the Parrot app. Fuck yeah. Journaling and visualizing. Journaling and deciding. Yep, deciding is a key factor here. Visualization. You don't think you've stuck to one? It's okay. I mean, listen, you don't have to stick to one. You just, you know, technically, like, just deciding something and not thinking against it, that's really all you have to do. But if you're trying out different techniques, like especially if someone is like newer on the manifestation journey and they're kind of confused with all this, I'll just break it down, okay? The visualizing obviously kind of goes without saying. You just imagine a scene that implies that your desire is already finished. So if you want to marry SP, then you would go into a visual of you and SP on your wedding day. Make it a short scene. Like, it doesn't have to be elaborate, but you would just get as much sensory vividness as you possibly can. Is there a chandelier? Is it a wedding on the beach? How are they looking at you? Okay, you would just like get that detail down, and then you would look at them, and then they would say something to imply that you're already married. I love you so much. I'm so happy I married you, right? That's what you do with visualizing. You just loop it over and over and over and over again. And again, it doesn't have to be super elaborate, okay? The affirming is really just, you could say it out loud, or you could say it in your mind, which is just a statement that implies the thing is already done, such as I'm so happy and grateful that SP and I are finally married, okay? Which again, it implies the same thing as visual, but you're just saying it. Here we go, the puzzle piece, which means I've been talking for an hour. Ooh. Oh, come on, yeah. Thanks, robot. Yep. You're asking me if I'm a robot when you're a robot. And then scripting would just be, again, writing down. It could be a physical piece of paper, or it could be like notes in your phone if you want, or it could be on a fucking computer. You would just write down a scenario that entails the thing that you want is already done, such as SP and I, we got married in this beautiful ceremony, and all of our friends and family were there, and you would do that. And detachment is, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a technique, but it's just kind of like, okay, I know what I want, I know it's already done, and you leave it alone. You don't think about it again, and you really have to be genuine and not think about it again, and not think when it's going to show up again. And then the deciding one clearly is just, this is what I want, this is what's happened, it's done, boom. It's kind of like detachment, I would say, in my opinion, because when you decide and you just know it's done, that is a sense of detachment. Even though I don't like to say detachment, because you are everyone and everything, so how can you be detached? You're just not attached to the timing of when it's going to happen, and you're not attached to the logistics of how it's going to happen. You're just kind of like, yeah, it's done, whatever, it's here, nothing else for me to do, right? You're just unbothered. La la la. Does listening to subliminals after deciding that it's done calm the nervous system? I don't know, because I'm not you. So if listening to subliminals calms you down, then that's only something that you would know. I can't answer that. The thing with subliminals, though, is that you don't really know what's in there, okay? So, I mean, if you find that there's one subliminal that's working for you, and then another one is just, you kind of feel weird after listening to it, I mean, I would definitely suggest stick with something that is feeling neutral and calming. If you're listening to a subliminal, and let's say, for example, you have like a nightmare or something, I would just not do that. Another thing that I do want to touch on is sometimes this can come up with individuals where they are listening to their own affirmations in their own voice, so they know exactly what is in there, and they're listening to it as they sleep, and they start to have nightmares, okay? And it could be a nightmare about the exact opposite happening that they are stating in the affirmations, or it could be just bad dreams in general, okay? Now, why this can sometimes happen, even if it's your own voice, even if it's you saying exactly what you want, right? Because your subconscious mind is so involved with the old story, that can be the subconscious mind's way of rejecting the affirmations. And actually, that's how you know it's working, because you know that it impacted your subconscious mind to a state where it's like, whoa, what the fuck is this? So just look at it as it's working. Obviously, don't do something that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. So if you listen to affirmations and you didn't like it, maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's best that you just listen to it during the day. But that can mean that it's working, because now it's like your subconscious is like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, you trying to, it's like your subconscious is like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, you trying to infiltrate the story we got going on with this bullshit? Because again, your new story to a story that's been running in the background for years perhaps is going to seem like bullshit. So that's why it can induce nightmares. But still look at it as it's working. And if you're comfortable with proceeding forward with continuing to listen to sleep affirmations, they really can be very helpful. I mean, I personally have had great experiences with sleep affirmations. I mean, I will have dreams about the stuff, that I'm recording. And there have been times that I've had dreams that were not pleasant, and it was about, and then I was like, oh shit, there's an affirmation in there, and I have a belief system, and that belief system popped up in my subconscious, but it did it so that I can address it. It didn't do it to like scare me or whatever. You know, I mean, I look at a nightmare. I don't even really say I have nightmares, but there could be a dream that's just like, woo, like a foreboding energy. And then I'm like, oh, what was in those sleep affirmations? Okay, so there's a belief that I want to work on getting out. So if anything, you know, weird pops up while you're doing the sleep affirmations, then you can identify what that sleep affirmations, then you can identify what that belief is that your subconscious mind is like, whoa, and you can work on that. Will I be doing any what for my YouTube channel? Can you specify? Yeah, your subconscious can do that. It's like, wait a second, what are we doing here? This is an intruder, but you know, I would still label it as it's working. And then if it's a specific nightmare about something specific in the affirmations that you've really just now clearly identified what the issue is, because your subconscious showed you, like, whoa. Sleep affirmation. I have some affirmations on my YouTube. I mean, you could listen to them during the day or, you know, as you're sleeping. It's really up to you. But again, you know, mine are pretty general because I don't know what anyone like is specifically manifesting. Only you would know that, which is why I suggest, you know, if you enjoyed listening to mine, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, sometimes, you know, other creators, they can have really good sleep affirmations that help relax you. I'm not saying not to listen to anyone but yours. I mean, if you resonate with it and you feel good after listening to it, but you know, you can get as specific as you want with your own recordings. Yeah, if you're doing sleep affirmations, you're welcome. If you're doing sleep affirmations, listening to them throughout the day, that's perfect. Because it's really the repetition that's going to get it into your subconscious mind. It's just that when you're sleeping, your conscious mind is like shut off, right? So it's just poof, it's going right into your subconscious. And you know, the subconscious is just, it has to accept whatever you're giving it, right? Even though it can at first seem to like reject the affirmations, it still has to accept it because it cannot think for itself. The subconscious mind doesn't think, the conscious mind thinks. So the conscious mind is really the one that is declaring what instructions the subconscious mind is to carry out. Ooh, heart puff. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for the rose. It's just all right. It's just all right. But you know, there's really no bad or good technique, okay? It really just what works for the individual. So if you know, cannot visualize, if that's not something that comes naturally to you, you don't need to force yourself to do something. And if any technique has you feeling drained or exhausted, you know, either you've saturated your mind to the point where it's like, okay, what are you doing? Right? It's like an overflowing cup. It's like there's nothing else to do. Or you're so fixated on the technique that now your ego is holding that technique hostage and saying like, this better work, you know. But again, it's not the technique that manifests. The technique is really there to help you. In my opinion, they're very good. You know, especially the affirmations and the sleep affirmations are really good for helping you to, you know, switch out one app and replace it with one that serves you. But for me, like my most successful manifestations have either been me, I know something and I'm like, it's done. I think about it once and it appears, or it's visualizing. And yes, the affirmations work to change a belief system, but for me, like the visuals, I don't know, that's just the way that I'm wired. So you have to kind of experiment and, you know, see what works for you. All right, let's, I think I'm going to pop off here. All right, let's, I think I'm going to pop off here in a little bit because I'm getting hungry, I ain't gonna lie. So I'll do one more question after this one because this is kind of a, I mean, I think it's an interesting question that a lot can benefit from. Do you have lucid dreams you can control? Those are so entertaining and real, it's crazy. So here's the thing, lucid dreaming is really how your reality is created, you know, if you want to think of it, okay? Because when you're lucid dreaming and you're in the dream and you're aware that you're dreaming and you say, now I want to see mountains, now I want to go to the beach, now I want to eat an ice cream, okay? And you're doing that's how the 3D works, okay? But it works obviously in a different parameter than a dream that you have when your body is sleeping. But that is how reality works. You say, I want to see this, and then it appears. And that's how manifestation is. This is like a high-tech lucid dream, which is why, you know, that term awakening, right? You're awakening. Now you're lucid in the dream of the 3D matrix, and you're aware that you're creating your experience based off of what you expect to see. And I literally, okay, so fun little story time. Ooh, A Course in Miracles calls us the happy dreamer. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. I love that book. Thank you for sharing. This is super fucking weird, but I had a dream one time. It was a few years ago, but I will never forget it. And it was a dream, and I don't know why, but like I was in my dream, and I think I might have been lucid. Ooh, thank you. I'm not sure. I don't remember because it was years ago. But I was shown exactly how reality is constructed. And it looked like, if any of you are familiar with that game Tetris, okay, Tetris is like a game where there are these different shaped like squares, and some of the squares are formed together to make shapes, like a T shape, or there's like a, I don't know, a lowercase L shape, or they're just blocks, and they're just like formed together to make shapes, and they're dropping down, and you have to move the shapes to top, and then every time you make one line full of the squares, that line disappears and the blocks drop down, and then something else drops, disappears, and the blocks drop down, and then something else drops, right? I don't know. Okay, I don't know why I just explained that. I'm sure you could just look it up, but I literally was in a dream, and it was like these, it was like Tetris, where these things were dropping down, and I knew in the dream that I was being shown how reality is created, and they were blocks dropping down, and in my mind I was like, okay, it was like the Tetris, how do I want to arrange this? How do I want to arrange that? But the blocks that were dropping down were things in my 3D. Like a tree would form over here, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put the tree here, and then something else would come over here, and I was doing that, and these things just kept dropping based off of what I expected to see. So I'm like, tree appears, okay, let's put him here. This appears, let's put it off of what I expected to see. So I'm like, tree appears, okay, let's put him here. This appears, let's put it there, right? And I forget, this is why, like, for me, the thing that resonates the most about this 3D reality is that it's like a high-tech simulation, like a video game, okay? Because I'm not a gamer, but there's a type of game where it forms as you're moving towards it on the screen. I don't know what that's called. If anyone knows, you could please let me know in the comments. But it's like a type of game, but the game isn't like, they don't show you what, like, if built as you cross to that sector, and it's like a type of game, okay? I don't know, but it's basically rendering. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I knew it. Okay, so yeah. So it's rendering, right? And it doesn't appear until you are at that point, right? So in this dream, I was shown something similar to that, like with the fucking Tetris pieces, only they were bits of my 3D, and it was like, this is how reality is created. So I expect to see something, and then I get to shape where I want to put it in my reality, and it's rendering, because you're always moving, right? You're moving in your consciousness, whether your fucking physical vessel is still, your mind is still always operating, okay? This is why you are the movement. You're just, your mind is always working. Even when you're sleeping, your fucking subconscious is still working, okay? So you are going about your path, and you are just, you know, to get back to the lucid dream thing, this is how it is constructed, because you are aware, this is my desire, okay, so I want it to appear in this way, right? Because everyone has different desires, the way they, not that you're really choosing how it appears, but to an extent you are. So something else that I want to say in regards to that, right? Things are constantly rendering, okay, when you get there, right? It's just being shaped for you as you move in different states of consciousness. But there's also a general expectation of the how, okay? And the expectation of how it comes into your desire, it also depends. The expectation of how it comes into your desire, it also depends on the individual, okay? So I've seen these videos on YouTube where I don't know if it's clickbait, maybe not. I mean, it is valid, but it's like someone will say, I manifested $200,000, or I manifested $150,000, whatever. And then the video will be like a person got a job, and the salary is like $200,000 or $150,000. And motherfuckers in the comments were like throwing shade. They're like, but that's not a manifestation because the money didn't appear out of thin air and you got a job. Like, no, because the person in the video clearly states that they were looking for a job, okay? And that job happened to pay them the amount that they wanted. So there was still the expectation of like an avenue, okay? This is why, depending on where you're at, okay, you can manifest something, but because remember, it's tuned to your frequency, what because there's beliefs and then there's beliefs under it. It's fucking wild, okay? So if someone is manifesting, let's say they want to manifest $500,000, okay, but their dominant belief is that they have to want to manifest $500,000, okay, but their dominant belief is that they have to have a job or a salary that's going to give it to them. If they get a job that pays them $500,000 a year, that still is a successful manifestation, because their avenue, they kind of set the tone. They were like, they're expecting it to come from a job. Whereas someone like me, for example, my general expectation is that money can just land in my lap in a duffel bag. Cash. That's it. I would go with that. Okay, because that's my expectation. Do you see what I'm saying? So is one successful and another not? No, they're both successful, but still the way that your manifestation comes to you, and this is how I am, not just with money, but with people and with circumstances and things moving for me, okay? I believe in magic, okay? Again, this is a belief. If someone is very logically inclined, their manifestations are likely going to come in a way that's logical, such as they get a high-paying salary. For me, I wouldn't question it. Someone hands me a suitcase, and I'm like, what is this? Like, no, it's a gift, just take it. And I open it, there's a fucking stack of bills. To me, that's plausible. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, that's why, like, even, you know, individuals in my personal life that know me, they're like weird things will happen like out of nowhere, be logical whatsoever. I mean, with some things maybe, but in the way that my shit comes to me, like I said in the beginning, Barbados keychain, how the fuck did that get in my box of trinkets that I had when I was a kid? Don't know, don't care. It appeared, it was on the path, that's it. So I am open to things appearing out of thin air, and it wouldn't shock me, it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, I've had a lot of supernatural experiences. I'm open to that. Whereas let's say someone else who you know, they're not into that type of shit, they don't like that, it would scare them maybe, like, whoa, how did a bag of money just appear? Some motherfuckers believe it or not, they would question it, or they would think something, like they would try to twist it into some anxiety inducing thing. Whereas me, I'm just like, oh, here we go, fucking stack of money, thank you, yep. So you're not controlling stack of money, thank you, yep. So you're not controlling the how your manifestation is getting there, right? But based off of what I saw with that whole Tetris dream, okay, the lucid dream is like you expect to see something, but you're also placing it in a way that is still plausible to you based off of your beliefs. So if you believe that money comes from a high paying salary, you're going to likely get it that way, because likely that is the easiest way for it to get to you. Whereas me, duffel bag full of cash, easiest way for it to get to you. Whereas me, duffel bag full of cash, hey, what's up, how you doing, let's go. Okay, so that's the easiest way for me. Do you see what I'm saying? So like people appearing out of nowhere has happened for me. How did I meet this motherfucker? It was weird and magical, but it fucking happened. Okay, how did this happen? How did that happen? And motherfuckers will notice that about me because I'm very, very whimsical. Okay, so it's just the way that my manifestations come to me. It's still a belief. I believe things can appear out of thin air. Yes, and that's why I have had that happen. I don't give a fuck. Can a Barbados keychain, a physical object, appear out of nowhere? Yes, it fucking can, because it did for me. Okay, so if someone is manifesting $100,000 and they get it through a job, but they kind of expected it to come from a job, that's still a successful manifestation for them, because that it's still going by a belief that they need a job to have that. Okay, so if someone is manifesting a person and they believe that they have to talk to this motherfucker, and that this motherfucker has to, I don't know, okay, then that's how their dream relationship is going to happen. Where someone else might meet someone, get married to them the next day. Both are successful, but it's still based off of what the person is expecting. Because remember, it's a law of assumption. What do you assume? Okay, so if you assume that your manifestation is going to take time or take longer, that's what it's going to be. If you assume that shit can appear instantaneously out of thin air, that's what's going to be. So this is why I tell everyone, even like individuals I talk to personally, I'm like, you might not be aware, but you still have assumptions even about manifestation itself, because everything is an assumption. This whole thing, what do you assume to be true? So take a look at your beliefs. And if you're saying that you want this, but it's going to take some time, yeah, because you fucking still said that. Whereas someone else, yeah, I want this, I could have it now, boom. And they have it immediately. So you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. This is why some motherfuckers can get their shit overnight, because they expect it. It's their assumption. Some motherfuckers, well, how's this gonna happen? But I gotta do that. I gotta send the resume out, and they gotta approve me. How did this other motherfucker just How did this other motherfucker just walk in and get the job? They didn't even send a resume. They just walked in. Yeah, I'll get it. Boom. Okay. Whereas someone else, they sent a resume. Okay, they'll get back to me. Then I got to go for the second interview. They expected that. Both are successful. They both got the job. One motherfucker walked in, raw dogged fucking everything, got the job on the spot. The other motherfucker got another job, right? They're both partners at the same fucking firm, but the other motherfucker sent a resume. They got a second call back, right? And they got the job in 2 weeks. Both are successful, but it's still big. I talk with my hands so much. Anyway, it's cool. But both are successful, but they still had a belief, even in that manifestation. Trippy fucking shit. So, yeah, that's kind of like where I went with the whole lucid dream. I just went off on a whole other tangent, but I don't know, I needed to say that. And you know, you always say the right thing at the right time. At least I do, because that's my assumption. So whoever needs to hear that, there you go. But yeah, I've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna hop off on here this way I can upload this to YouTube sooner rather than later, because